Hey folks, so March is officially here, and what that means is that today I'm going to walk us through 3 gardening tips for the month of March, and we're going to finally get to go outside, and at the very end I'm going to share 1 mindful gardening tip for the month. So as we get started, if you do have any questions, go ahead, leave those down in the comments. I start every one of my days by having a cup of coffee and answering all the questions that we have received on YouTube. So you'll get a response from me super quickly. Now, probably the most exciting part about March, which is our first tip, is that we can start seeds. And so to make sure that you are starting the correct seeds, what you're going to want to do is look up on, say, Google, your local growing zone planting chart. And this planting chart is going to tell you exactly which vegetables you can be starting over the course of March for your specific region. And so for myself, some of the vegetables that I'm going to be getting started are my tomatoes, my broccoli, my basil, my Swiss chard, my cabbage, and a bunch of other ones. Now, 2 important notes on this front is that you do not need to be starting your seeds on March 1st, 2nd, 3rd, anything like that. I won't start any of my seeds until at least March 15th. So if you're only watching this video in mid or even late March, you're still in a perfect position to be starting your March seeds at that time. And as you get your seeds started over the course of March, I encourage you to check out our playlist on indoor seed starting, because we've been putting out lots and lots of videos of how to go about doing it and why some of the variables are so important. So the link for that whole playlist is down in the description below here. And for your April seeds, I really do encourage you to exercise some patience on them. Take a look at this squash, which I started in an experiment about 40 days ago. And what we can see is that it is putting out tons of flowers. The reason why it's doing this is because it does not have enough space in that seed cell, and it is way too cold for us to be moving it outside. So if you start seeds too early, it ends up actually causing a lot of headaches as you go through the season. So I really encourage you to exercise some patience on that front. Now, with that being said, it's time for us to head outside. How nice is it to be outside here? Just getting out here gets me excited for the season ahead. And so recall in February, one of the things that we were working on was fixing up structures that got damaged through the winter. And so for March, our second tip for today is to begin building our structures or infrastructure for the season ahead. And I think that the best place to get started on this is with the beds that you might want to be building for the season ahead. And so what we can see behind me here is that I've already got a whole bunch of beds established, but with the split rail fence project this past fall, I've got a lot of new space that I'm going to need to be getting to work on. So let me show you what I'm going to be doing over the course of March here. So right beside where I was sitting right there is all of this space, which used to be blocked by this fence that was right here, but now it gets sunlight. And so what I'm going to do is actually take this bed that is right here, pop all the wood off and move it over there. It's going to be a transplant, but for a garden bed. And then with this new space that has opened up, I'm going to be putting a temporary greenhouse in there so I can do a little bit of greenhouse gardening this year. Once those 2 pieces are complete, then I'm going to be able to begin finalizing the barefoot path that's going to be coming through here. And I'll be sharing all of those projects and guides with you on our channel here over the course of March. And so just before we get to our 3rd tip, plus the mindful gardening tip, for those of you that I have not met before, I'm Jordan from Mind and Soil, where we're looking to introduce 1 million individuals to mindful gardening. So if you're looking for more peacefulness, more calmness, more restoration in your life, then I really encourage you to subscribe to our channel here, because we put out new videos just like this one every single week to be helping you get your hands dirty and take all of the guesswork out of gardening so that you too can experience gardening's mental health benefits. So now, with that being said, the 3rd tip for March here is to begin prepping our soils for the season ahead. And so in March, what we really want to be focusing on is compost, compost, compost. And so the reason why we want to be adding compost to all of our beds is because it provides a great amount of organic matter that's going to be full of nutrients for our plant babies, and microbial life for them to be thriving as they move into the season. Now, if you don't have your own compost supply, you could head to a soil depot in your area and ask them for their organic compost amender. So 100% pure compost is what you want to be getting from them. And if you're going by the bag, then I encourage you to go with something like sea soil, which is a really great compost product. And so if you haven't added compost to your garden before, in this year and this year only, you're going to till that compost into the soil. And the reason why you do this in your first year is because it's going to work the organic matter into the existing soil, which will primarily be sand, silt, and clay. And so this is going to create a really nice consistency opposed to two distinct layers. Now, after the first year, you do not want to disturb that soil ecosystem. So if you have been adding compost to your beds in the past seasons, all that you want to do in March here is add 1 to 2 inches of compost onto the top of your beds and then spread that evenly throughout it. The reason why we don't till after we have established the bed is because beneath the surface there is an ecosystem of life that is developing and is incredibly beneficial to our plants. And so if we were to go in there and till, it would rip all that to shreds and would have to be starting from scratch again. And as we can see, the hands are starting to get a little bit dirty. Feels good. So what I want to leave you with is just one mindful gardening tip for the month of March as well. And one thing that I love about March is that things are starting to come to life. So on one of your gardening sessions, whether it's at the beginning or the end, go around your garden and count any new growth that you spot throughout your garden. So that could include your raspberry canes, your strawberries, the rhubarb crowns pushing through the ground, and of course, our garlic babies. So folks, that's everything for today. I'm getting so excited for the season ahead here. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, it's time for you to start getting those hands actually dirty, and I can't wait to catch you on the next video. See you soon.